So Max Holloway is taking on the young prospect in Arnold Allen, and I believe he's going to get the job done in stunning fashion. I've done my research on this matchup, and I'm making this video to show you guys what each fighter's strengths and weaknesses are, some key statistics that paint a clear picture for this matchup, and give my in-depth final prediction on how this fight's going to go in detail. And of course, if you end up enjoying this video, consider subscribing and leaving a like. Helps me grow the channel, and it makes sure you don't miss any of my future UFC content. So Arnold's key strengths is his speed, his power, and his grappling and wrestling pressure that he puts on. I know you wouldn't see that in his last two fights, but if you go look at his earlier fights, he's not the type to just stand there and bang with you. He'll strike a little bit. He's immediately trying to push you up against the cage, get a nice takedown. He's actually got a good few submissions on his record. And his weakness, to me, is that his cardio is suspect. You see him get a lot of early finishes, and you see him do a lot of blitzing and a lot of fast attack. But when you actually watch his fights, he's not constantly throwing those quick combos, right? He likes to move around, pick his moment, and then exert his energy and go for it. This is also Arnold's first 5-round fight. He was scheduled for a 5-round fight against Calvin Kattar, but Calvin blew out his knee, ended in the second round. That was his last fight. So he didn't actually have to test his cardio or get that ring experience of going to round 4, going to round 5. So it's something very interesting to keep in mind. Whereas on the side of Max Holloway, you have his weaponized pace and cardio. He's going to be throwing just as fast and just as much, if not more, in round 4 and 5 as he does in round 1, 2, and 3. Not a lot of fighters can say that. It's something that makes him very unique, and it's something that has allowed him to just beat his opponents down through accumulative damage through most of his fights and most of his wins. Max also has very good timing. He's one of the best boxers in the UFC, as he said so himself. I would personally agree with that. He does get hit a little too much for my liking, but he does land a lot of shots himself as well. You'll see by the stats in just a moment. Max has also had many 5-round fights, as I pointed out. He's used to going the distance. He's used to having to push hard, find that dark place within himself, and handle himself and continue pushing forward through adversity. Whereas Allen hasn't yet needed to do that. It doesn't mean he can't do it, but we haven't seen him have to push hard in championship rounds yet, and that's a huge factor in this matchup. Now, what are Max's weaknesses? Max showed that he is there to get hit, and if you can be faster than him and keep up with his pace, you can beat him down that way. And I would argue that Arnold Allen is faster than Max on a specific strike-for-strike basis. He's one of the faster fighters in that division. But the key difference I don't see from Arnold Allen compared to Volkanovski is the ability to do that consistently for 5 rounds. He's going to light up Max a lot in the earlier rounds, but how is he going to look in round 3? How's he going to look in round 4? How's he going to look in round 5? And you look back at his last fight that went to decision against Sodiq Yusuff, and you can kind of get an idea for where he's at there. Arnold almost put Yusuff away in the first and second round, doing what he does best, landing beautiful hard counters, but Sodiq was able to stay alive, and you see going into the third round, Arnold had to switch to almost 100% wrestling attack-based game plan. Obviously, it was the smart idea to try and secure the win, but even in those exchanges, the commentators were even saying it, he looked to be slowing down tremendously. He almost wasn't the same fighter from rounds 1 and 2. And if you're doing that in round 3 against Sodiq Yusuff, I really wonder how you're going to be doing in round 3, 4, and 5 against Max Holloway. So let's say Arnold is slowing down and he is pushing Max up against the cage. Is he going to have good success at getting Max down and holding Max down? And I think he might get him down once or twice, but I think Max will pop right back up. Arnold's going to expend a lot of energy doing so. Arnold has a 50% takedown accuracy in the UFC, whereas Max has 86% takedown defense. Max has some of the best takedown defense in the featherweight division. He's always been one of the better strikers, so he's used to people trying to get him to the ground. He's not going to see anything from Arnold Allen that he hasn't seen before. And of course, if you're enjoying this video so far, consider liking and subscribing. Helps me grow the channel, and make sure you don't miss out on any of my future videos. So some interesting stats I want to bring up that really paint the picture at what pace Max can fight at and how often he gets hit versus Arnold Allen. Max lands 7.24 significant strikes per minute, and he takes 4.89, whereas Arnold lands 3.4 per minute and he takes 2.25. So both of them are fairly good at hitting and not getting hit, but Arnold's is a little skewed because he gets his hits off and then he engages in the clinch, so he's not able to get hit back quite enough. And I expect him to obviously try the same thing against Max, but Max is used to standing right in the pocket, landing 7.24 and only getting hit 4.89. And something I always say about the pace battle, when you see one fighter fighting at such a higher pace, it tends to make the guy who fights at the lower pace uncomfortable, because when you have a guy who's coming at you non-stop, what are you going to do? You're either going to counter with him or you're going to try to clinch to slow it down. If you can't clinch to slow it down, he continues getting off of you and he's forcing you to fight his fight. That suits Max Holloway so much because he's used to that. If we were seeing Allen get tired in round 3 against Yusuf at 3.4 strikes per minute, how do you think he's going to look in round 3 at a pace closer to 6 strikes per minute, 7 strikes per minute absorbed and taken? So I really believe those stats in this one really do paint a clear picture at how you're going to see this fight go over the course of 5 rounds. There's 2 big X factors in that. Max Holloway's chin, is it going to be the same that we've seen it before? He's been through a lot of battles, taken a lot of shots, and his takedown defense. I believe Max's takedown defense will hold up strong in this one, but if it doesn't and Arnold's able to land a couple good shots on the feet, then take him down and wear on him, that's a path to victory for Arnold Allen, though I don't think it's the most likely one to happen. Can Arnold Allen's cardio hold up and be the best cardio we've ever seen from him out of all of his past opponents? If it can, he has a good chance to win this matchup because he is the faster fighter in the specific exchanges. He is more well-rounded in his tack. What I mean by that is he's willing to go to the grappling, and the judges do like to see that every now and then, especially if it's a close round on the feet. But if Max's chin is able to hold up just like it used to, and his takedown defense is able to hold up just like it used to, Max Holloway is going to be able to outland him significantly on the feet, and it's just going to come down to him shrugging him off in the clinch exchanges so he can keep landing. It's very tiring to keep engaging in that and trying to take someone down when they keep getting back up or they keep stopping you, and that's going to wear on Allen over the course of the fight. So if Max can take the early onslaught and the early counters that will come from Allen and not drop and not get finished, this is a really good matchup for him over the course of 5 rounds. And we'll get into my full in-depth prediction in a moment, but just another thing I want to say is Max is only 31 years old. It's not like he's some 37-year-old bantamweight, you know. He still has a lot of life left in his MMA career, though I know the argument is there that he's taken far more damage. But taking a year off since your last fight, recovering a little bit, replenishing that fighter mind and that fighter soul, I like that a lot on the side of Max. I think him taking the time off that he did is a very good thing in his favor. And Arnold has had some very favorable matchups or circumstances in his last 2 fights. Calvin Kattar blew out his knee, and that was Allen's chance to go 5 rounds, dip his toes in the water, and really make sure he can come out on the other side and really see how he's going to do there. But he didn't get that chance because of the knee injury. The first and second round is where Arnold Allen is going to be his most dangerous. You're going to see a lot of very fast counters from him. I likely see him landing on Holloway, and if Holloway is able to take those shots and survive, Allen is in deep shit. But this is how I see the fight going round by round. I see Max is going to start off good, having the better of the striking exchanges for the first few minutes, but Allen's going to begin picking it up, potentially even dropping Max for a moment. I see round 2 starting, Max continuing doing the better work on the feet. Instead of dropping Max, Arnold's going to go for his clinch work, try to get a takedown, hold him up against the fence for a while. I see Max giving him a lot of trouble getting him down. If he does get down, it'll be one of the takedowns where he's still on one arm and stands back up immediately. And I see that beginning to be the downfall of Arnold Allen. I think at this point he'll have expended so much energy trying to take control of the fight that when rounds 3 comes out, he'll have even less success engaging in the clinch, less success with his takedowns, and Max will start to have even more and more success landing more of his combos, starting to really flex on Arnold Allen throughout the last 3 rounds. And I see Max either getting a finish in the 4th round by a TKO, or I see him winning on decision. I think Arnold Allen will win 1 or 2 of the rounds, but I don't think he'll be able to win 3, 4, and 5. So it's really, if Max can take the shots in round 1 and 2, I'm pretty confident he's going to win this one. But if I'm wrong, you're going to see Max Holloway get TKO'd out cold, and that's not something I'm really ready to see. So I really hope I'm right in this one, but let me know what you guys think. Am I missing anything in this matchup? I love going back and forward with you guys in the comment section. I have my full card predictions coming out in my next video, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. And a big thank you to those of you who drop likes and drop comments for the algorithm. Really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one.